Sermon 39 Commentary. The sermon was prompted by a specific incident involving a Syrian raid on a strategic defense outpost near Kufa under the command of Malik ibn Ka'ib al-Arhabi. Muawiyah dispatched a force of 2,000 soldiers, led by an-Nu'man ibn Bashir, to assault the position. At the time, Malik had only about 100 men present out of a nominal 1,000 combatants. Facing imminent danger, Malik urgently wrote to Imam Ali, requesting reinforcements. When the Imam called upon the people of Kufa for help, only around 300 men reluctantly prepared, a shockingly small number given the threat to Muslim lives and territory. Deeply dismayed by this apathy, Ali ascended the pulpit and delivered this scathing rebuke, admonishing their lack of faith-driven zeal, sense of honour, and readiness to defend their brethren. Adi ibn Hatim at-Tai later offered 1,000 men from Bani Tai, and Ali instructed him to assemble at the valley of An-Nukhayla, where others gradually joined, bringing the total to about 2,000. However, before this force could depart, news arrived that Malik had already repelled the enemy. Malik had sent Abdullah ibn Huwayla al-Azdi to seek urgent help from nearby commanders Karaza ibn Gaib al-Ansari and Makhnaf ibn Sulaiman al-Azdi. Karazda provided no aid, but Makhnaf sent 50 men under Abdullah ibn Rahman ibn Makhnaf, who arrived near evening. Seeing these reinforcements, al-Nu'man assumed a larger force was coming and fled. Malik pursued and killed 3 of the retreating enemy. The incident underscored the chronic war weariness, tribal divisions, and lack of sincere commitment among many Kufans, despite their allegiance to Imam Ali, and became a recurring source of the Imam's frustration during his struggle against Muawiyah. Ibn Maytham al-Bahrani in his Sharh states that the Imam's opening cry, "May you have no father, woe to you," expresses profound sorrow and condemnation, not personal hatred, but grief over the spiritual decline that prevents Muslims from rising from Allah's cause. The term where Imam Ali states, "Does not faith join you together, or sense of shame rouse you?" is a piercing question, exposing the twin failures: absence of true Iman, which should unify believers in defense of the oppressed, and lack of manly honor or shame that should stir them against humiliation of their brethren. The camel metaphors, noises like the camel having pain in stomach, loose like the camel of thin back, vividly portray the Kufans as noisy but ineffective, groaning in complaint but collapsing under the burden, unable to carry the weight of jihad. When Imam Ali states, "as if they are being led to death and they are only watching," alluding to the Quran 8:6, describes their half-hearted, fearful response, dragged reluctantly, not advancing willingly. Allama Majlisi in his Bihar quotes narrations from the Imams, linking the sermon to a broader tragedy of Kufa, a city that pledged allegiance to Imam Ali but repeatedly failed him in crisis due to attachment to dunya, tribalism, and fear of death. The sermon is a warning that lip-service allegiance without action is worthless. No blood can be avenged through you and no purpose can be achieved with you, is a prophetic indictment fulfilled in later events, such as the desertion of Imam Hassan and the tragedy in Karbala to Imam Hussein. Imam Ali's personal anguish when he states, "I stand among you shouting, but you do not listen," reflects Imam Ali's loneliness of wilayah. The Imam calls tirelessly, yet the Ummah's response is weak and wavering. Allama Muhammad Hussain Tabatabai states the sermon contrasts true jihad, driven by faith and honor, with the cowardice of those who prioritize worldly safety over divine duty. The Quranic allusion of Surah 8, verse 6, evokes the early Muslims' hesitation at Badr, but whereas they overcame fear through faith, the Kufans remained paralyzed, showing spiritual decline. Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei frequently cites this sermon in lessons on Nahj al-Balagha and during the mourning ceremonies to emphasize readiness for sacrifice and steadfastness in the path of truth. He describes the Kufans' failure as a timeless warning. A community may have numbers and allegiance, but without genuine iman, sense of honor, and readiness to act when the Imam calls, it becomes ineffective and burdensome. He highlights that the term when Imam Ali states, "Does not faith join you together, or sense of shame rouse you?" as a call to revive taqwa, and faith should unify believers in defense of the oppressed, and shame should prevent inaction when honor is at stake.